Monday, June 14th. Last week, below my balcony, a truck arrived with rolls of what looked like white roofing material, but when I asked a worker, he said it was an acoustic mat. It will be applied on the third floor of assisted living because these are wood. The rest in this building are concrete. Another truck arrived and dumped a load of sand. He made 2 more trips till there were 3 piles along the south fence. One entire day, Little Cat spent shuffling scoops of dirt back and forth between the pile and behind the tree to a noisy area. I finally decided to go see what they were doing. Walking out door 3, I found a portable concrete setup. Little Cat throws a scoop of sand in the hopper. Then the man on the flatbed truck adds several bags of gypcrete. Then the man running the hopper pours it in the mixer. Everybody gets covered in white dust, and it starts all over again. And it is so hot today. Looking up at the solarium, I see a large black hose going into the 3rd floor opening. At the end of that day, I looked out to see workers pulling the big black hose out of the AL building. And they kept pulling it and pulling it. It was the longest hose I've ever seen, but it had to run all the way to the atrium. Oliver, the AL foreman, graciously sent me pictures of the Acoustamat installed on the 3rd floor. This is followed by the big black hose spraying a very watered-down version of concrete onto the entire floor. If a room was going to have tile installed, they needed a mesh mat over the Acoustamat for strength. You have to be sure when you start filling the floor, you start at the farthest corner in because there's not any going back without a big mess on your feet. When a room is complete, you have what looks like a large gray ice skating rink. It will harden by tomorrow. Thanks again, Oliver, for showing us what we couldn't see otherwise. On the outside, I was so excited to see Poncho start dismantling the scaffolding. It was a long day, and it was loud as wood and metal hit the SkyTrack or the ground, but I was so happy to see it come down. I leaned out and teased Alonzo that he needed to be quiet because there might be babies inside sleeping. He just laughed and went back to work. SkyTrack loaded with scaffolding has a hard time getting out. He has to go over the top of the construction fence and not take out the rest of the scaffolding that have still yet to come down. Then once he gets out, there's a traffic jam with another SkyTrack and a trencher. When the scaffolding was gone, I just stood on my balcony and grinned. It's such a pretty building now. There's still work to be done on the solarium. SkyTrack made many trips the next day, getting all of the thrash off the ground. Poncho and Alonzo had some really long days working in the heat to clear the area. Another trip taken away from the area. We're getting closer to being able to have a sidewalk and new plantings. Final trip for scaffolding and stucco trash. I clapped and bowed, and Alonzo blushed. I will truly miss the crews. They are kind, friendly, helpful guys, and they work very hard. I will not miss the dust. While I was waiting outside of the therapy unit at LVL, I stuck my camera in the window to see what Doc had been up to. Okay, let's switch tracks and let's move over to the independent living building. I finally got a tour with Oscar. Don went with us on the tour, and we were surprised how cleared out the parking structure is. There's 6 or 8 vehicles parked in there. It's still used for storage of things that will be installed in apartments eventually. Looking up at the ceiling, I am in awe of all the black fire suppression pipes and other things I'm not even sure what runs through them. Don was excited when we went into the wood shop. It has been taped and bedded, and he was quite impressed with the size. When you stand inside, it feels twice as big as the old one. Proceeding from the wood shop down the hall, we find a big storage unit. I didn't ask what they were going to store inside it. Oscar pointed out the silver curved pipe in the ceiling and said it needed to be completed for fire suppression to Sandia dining room. Also having some holdups trying to get a better hearing aid loop installed in the Sandia dining extension. We look inside the fitness classroom and see that they have put the flooring down. It's a heavy vinyl mat which will make moving chairs much easier. They have also put the flooring down in the new gym and just need to trim it up. We access the first floor of IL Apartments, going up the new stairwell. Don had to duck occasionally, or this would have slapped him in the face. I just walked under it. In the apartment, the cabinet that will hold the heating and air conditioning unit is underway. Windows and sliding doors have been installed. The walls have been taped, bedded, and textured. I'm not sure about final paint yet. I took a picture out the window of the first floor at the very end by the stairwell. That's still a great view. During our tour, Oscar got at least 4 or 5 emergency calls about something. He would have continued on with us, but I released him and sent him to go deal with the problems. We'll do this again in a few more weeks. Back outside, on the north wall, they are pouring concrete to finish up the curbing around the new light pole. This past week, we have had wind and rain and thunder. And then there were days we could hardly see the mountains because of the smoke, and everyone's eyes burned and their throats itched. No matter what the weather was like, we still had gorgeous sunsets.
We begin this week near Independent Living, looking at the roadway and the new paving. That just went by is the old paving, and now we see the new paving and see that it's finished. And from the tire tracks we can see that it's already heavily used. And already we can see that it's heavily messed up with that white stuff. Anyway, along the retaining wall, it reminds us that the landscape plan is now posted on the portal, so you can look up and see where the trees and the plants are going. And now we're going to come around and go around the east end and work our way back toward the kitchen. As we work our way back toward the kitchen, we'll see that the paving does not go all the way back. It only goes part way. But all of the construction-related areas seem to be paved. So pretty soon here we'll turn around and work our way back. As we turn onto the main road again, turning south, keep your eyes open because this is the area where we saw a moose a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure there are any more left around here. But again, there's another treat. We're coming up to the Levidiana junkyard, a pleasant addition to our landscaping plan. Again, did I say that in spite of the paving, all of this is very heavily used? Anyway, now we come to the end, right by gate 8. So here we are at independent living, and as we can see, independent living is essentially the same. Not much progress from last week. That umbrella down near the bottom seems to be a work area for mixing plaster of some kind. As we come around the east end and look, we see that the white insulation hasn't made it here yet, although it's getting pretty close. The top 2 layers of the Solaria don't seem to have gotten their coats of yellow yet. And as we come around to the south side, we'll see that the white insulation has made it all the way to the corner. Do I need to mention that the hatch is open? But now, as we come along the south side, we'll see there is something new. They've applied some of the base coat around the trim areas, so they are making some significant progress. We can see also that the broom is still there for Block Monster. I bet he's glad about that. Do you really want to see the West End? Is there something here that's going to be earth-shattering? Is there something new? Is there yellow on the upper right-hand corner? Long last view. Here at Assisted Living, all the action is right here at the southwest corner where they are paving concrete gutters and simultaneously regrading and putting down stone, getting ready to pave the last part of the roadway. Here near the lobby area, we can see that everything is pretty much the same except for big, huge piles of dirt. What that's for, I'm not quite sure. Meanwhile, skipping around to the back, we can see that the back is also pretty much the same as we left it last week. Did I mention it's Wednesday, June 16th, 10:30 in the morning, and it's 80 degrees. It's going to be a hot one today. Coming around the west end, we see that also is about the same as last week. And of course, the action is right here along the southwest corner. See you next week.